American Power is a series of pictures that I made in the United States, my home country, between the years 2003 and 2008. It began in a small town in Ohio, Cheshire, Ohio, where I took pictures about the disappearance of a small town that sat in the shadow of one of our largest coal-fired power plants. And I was moved by the lives that had been lived in this place and the few people that remained in this town, and began to think in a larger sense about the subject of energy, and made a series of trips throughout the United States where I made pictures looking at the American landscape as a reflection of American society. Energy was the linchpin. Energy was the central subject. But the deeper that I got into this project, the more I realized that energy as a subject was tied into so many other aspects of our culture. And so it has, in a sense, an opportunity to reflect and to show something in a broader way about the state of things in America today. And when you're working with a large format camera on a tripod, it's by nature more introspective and meditative, because you do take your time in a way to define your picture and to build it in a kind of physical way when you're there with camera out in the landscape. But at the same time, it's important to work against that formality, I believe, and to employ the ways in which photography can incorporate the accident, the serendipitous, the things that are unpredictable. So it's a mysterious thing how the pictures themselves are formed, but I don't get too distracted by questioning too deeply my process when I'm out in the field working. Being in and around the trees, just in a physical way, after being around power plants, they gave me a lot of solace and comfort and renewal in a sense. It's a lot more pleasurable to be around a tree than a power plant. After American Power, I wanted to make a work that was closer to my home place. So it was a chance to think about the city and to not travel so far afield, but also I wanted to make a work in the simple sense that was more about honoring and celebrating a subject and less of a lament, which is what I felt American Power came to be. I could easily get stuck in all the conflicting ways of thinking about how to proceed. But when I turn to my intuition, I enable myself to trust my instinct and rely on a kind of refined sort of visual acuity, but at the same time a kind of empathetic connection to the tree. And at the same time, it's taking place, intuition, in conjunction with a kind of critical reflection. And sometimes the difference between what is working and what isn't working is very subtle and not even explainable in verbal terms. So I think there's something to be said about the challenge of what it takes to make a picture that's about something that's seemingly simple and in fact is not, and to allow it to be expansive. Being around these trees, many of which have lived for hundreds of years and will live beyond me, that itself is kind of humbling, because it makes clear just how vulnerable, but also how human I am, we are.